All right. Texas, just to start out. Texas 1, GCN 0. We are home now. It's been a couple days. Had a few trips. And then, we're actually sitting down, making the video for you guys. And then we wanted to do a little talk session with you guys after the Texas trip because you guys experienced Texas through that video right there. But obviously, there's a little bit of mentality and background and just we were there the whole time. So it's always good to share that side of the trip with you guys. So Texas was a good time. Texas, we had fun. First off, thank you very much, Cody Snell, Sandbar Tackle, Ray. Travis was a good friend of Cody's there that he fished with a lot. Those three guys live in Texas, and the trip was not possible without him. Cody, driving his truck. That rack was sick. I have never driven on the beach, never fished from a rack, and we were talking some jargon when we were up there. We were like, dude, we need to bring a rack back to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
Like, what if we could pull it on the beach or something? But, no, it was a very cool experience, and basically just give you guys a general rundown of the trip and kind of what happened. So, obviously, we get to Texas, and the first kind of, weird thing that happened, and I apologize, because that video that we put out before we got to Texas where I'm just recording on my phone was not great. And not what we wanted to bring you guys. We had the spooling video that you guys saw on Monday. Was supposed to go up on Friday, and then YouTube froze the video for some reason. It wouldn't upload. I actually had to come back home and re-export it from Adobe. That was kind of weird. So we're on the road figuring out halfway to Texas, 7 hours in our drive that we we couldn't post a video. So we had to we didn't want to miss an episode. We want to keep you guys in the loop. So we recorded that on my phone, uploaded it at Cody's house, and then boom, we hit the beach. No big deal. We're driving 3 a.m. is when we get 2:30. We get to Cody's house. We're 3 a.m. on pins, and we're rolling down the beach, and it's dark. So we're not really sure. It's we're driving on the beach, but we're also really tired. We drove all night. And then the kind of sun comes up and you get kind of an idea. You can just start to see, and I'll show you some shots of those when we can just kind of see the rack, and we're seeing the beach a little bit, and the waves aren't big, and it's 5-mile-an-hour winds. We pull up to our spot, and it's holy smokes. I always heard Texas was just in my mind, I'm not great looking water, 6-8 foot waves, just something that's I don't know if I can make that. And then 15, 20, 25 mile an hour winds. Not the case for our first 2 days. It was amazing. Absolute easy paddle. Adam had his little, mouse session. All good fun. Just joking, of course, because 48 hours later, the waves pick up. 30 mile an hour winds, 5, 6, 7 foot waves there. Adam can't even get a bait out anymore. I bombed my bait in that stuff hard into the waves like Cody was trying to tell us, and I got done with that paddle, and I was I'm gonna black out. I should have brought water or something. It was a ridiculous hard paddle. So we did get to experience a not normal day, and then we got to experience the true grit of Texas. And that's something that the biggest thing I've probably taken away from this trip is the fishery and the uniqueness of Texas and the fishery. So for those of you who are watching the video that are in the shark fishing community, you see a lot about Texas, and then you see a lot about everywhere else. It's pretty much Texas fishermen, and then everywhere else, there's a huge population of shark fishing guys, and we got to see that when we left Pins and went to south of Bob Hall. We'll talk about that later, but there is a huge community there, and I get it. I totally get it now. When we fish here at home, which is Pensacola, Florida, the Panhandle area, and it's like that for a lot of places, the goal is to you get your baits out really easy. That's not ever the 10-foot tiger we caught a couple weeks ago with Jack was flat. That's not a challenge. You're not oh my gosh, I can't believe if I have to paddle this bait, I might die. It's the challenge is catching the big fish. But in Texas, the main challenge and the main thing that makes fishing Texas is the challenging waves. I'm telling you, on day 3, evening of day 2, day 3, was just, gut-wrenching paddles. It was just you get in and you're just no more. And then that's, I feel a lot of where you get your techniques that you don't see other places. You get 3-pound weights. You get clip-on leaders, long line clips and stuff like that. And for those of you who shark fish but haven't shark fished Texas, I'll tell you, after dropping 1,400 yards for 45 minutes, not 45 minutes round trip, 45 minutes one way plus, and you drop that bait and you wait 6-7 hours, 3-4 hours, whenever you like to change your baits, depending on the bait, you got to change that bait. I guarantee you're not going to go, I'm going to reel it in. Like we do it here. We just reel it in, recheck it. Sometimes we follow the line out. No, you're following that line out. You're taking a new long line clip and a new hook and a new bait. And when I get to that bait, 45 minutes later, I'm going to unclip my old bait, throw it in the back of the kayak, forget about it, clip on a new bait, and drop my 3-pound anchor back down there. It was always unique to me. I had no idea. It was just different from what we do because we have simpler fishing here. And there it's a challenge. And so just one, like I said in the beginning, Texas 1, GCN 0, because this trip was not a loss by any means. It was a hard fought, just a punch in the gut is the best way I can explain it. There is no reason this trip should have gone the way it is. It's just fishing. Sometimes that happens, but we, Adam, within 3 hours of being there, Cody gets us on a big fish, and Adam hooks up, gets like 5 seconds of fame, and then bop, back in the rod holder, goes flying. And the real reason there is kind of just shell rub on the braid, so you get a lot of braid on your reels because you have to take them so far. And there was just some type of shell rub or something like that. There was nicks on our braid the whole time. We were constantly having to splice uni to uni braid and cut out bad spots. So there just must have been a bad spot that happened within 3 hours. Adam hooks up, gets tight, fish starts running. Cody and Spencer Wonder from Terraform Tackle was there as well. Cody's caught a lot of big fish. Spencer is a well-renowned, national, even world fisherman from the land-based shark fishing group. So his opinion, holds a lot of weight to it. And both of them said, really typical hammer run, screaming, set the hook, pulling drag, fought like a hammer. So we're pretty sure that was a nice hammerhead there, and it just popped off. It happens, and it wasn't that big of a blow. Mm-hmm. Like when Adam hooks that fish and loses it, it was like, dang it, that could have been it. But like we have so much more time. 3 more days. Yeah, so we weren't sweating that much then. And then the next morning we go to sleep. Blaine wakes up. We all wake up to a screaming reel. TRX going off, 80 narrow. And you guys saw us spool that thing up last week. So it's fresh. It's good to go. Blaine bombed it out there. And Blaine gets tight. It was a weird hook at first. Like you could see, like he gets tight. I didn't know if he was like tied on a small shark or a bull shark. And Cody and Spencer, same thing. They're like, this is a hammer, this is a hammer. And I was just like, we're not as experienced as those guys. And those, especially in that fishery. So I didn't really know. And then we get tight, and he starts pulling drag. And then he comes in, and then he pulls drag. Then he comes in for a long distance. Blaine gets tight to him again. He pulls drag a little bit, kind of pins him up against the, Blaine's holding the rack. And then somewhere along the lines, that fish sprints in really hard. Blaine doesn't, have an opportunity to catch up with him, and we just lose that fish. We pulled hook, we pulled the whole leader in. So something happened there, and that was more of just a bigger like whoosh, slap in the face. Like, dude, there's two fish, and then what? What is this story? What does this trip look like if we land 2 giant hammers? That's what was going through my mind. I don't know about after you lost that fish, like what's going on? Because Blaine, you've seen in videos. I'll try to go back and pull up Blaine losing fish. It's like, bah! Just throw his hat down. Blaine loses the fish. You saw harness off, no expression. Harness off, down the ladder, cut leader, new hook, new leader because the leader had been sitting out there for a little while. New weight, new bait. Got in the kayak, bombs the reel. Comes back like this, just like. So what's the jive there? Because you saw Adam lose his. You got to fight your fish.
Yeah. To think that so we smash our barbs, which I mean obviously could have been a reason why we lost that fish. Just too much slack in the line. I'd already been reeling 600 yards in constantly before that without a break, just gassed and just. Maybe couldn't keep up with that fish, so he got just enough slack in that line for just to slip right out of the corner there. But after I lost that, I was like, honestly, I really don't want to kayak out another bait, but I came here to fish hard. I fish hard in general, and I'm not going to let this opportunity pass again if I get another hookup. So, going through my mind, yes, I'm extremely upset that I lost that fish, but that's just how it is sometimes, especially hammer fishing. You could lose a hammer, any hookup that you ever get with one that easily.
100%. Yeah.
So it was just like, all right, I got to grind it through, got to get another bait out, and then a couple hours later, I got to go change that bait because it might be washed out or might get crabbed out or something, but I got to make my time.
Keep rolling. Yeah, you got to, you could miss a fish if you cry for an hour about it. So, yeah, I mean, hammer fishing like that in general is pretty tough. For those that know about South Florida's fishery where they get a lot of hammers, it's like you'll catch when those epic nights you hear about there, it's like 6 hammers in a night, but we hook 12. Yeah. And you're like, you hook 12? And it's like, yeah, man, it's hammer fishing. Like, you pop off, you lose. They fight hard. They go crazy. So it happens. It's just we were 0 for 2. And that's the thing. And then the waves kicked up like you guys saw. The wind picked up. We got more of a Texas experience. That's when the kayaking got really hard. And that's when I started to understand a lot of the Texas fishery and really appreciate one where we get the fish. So like I really have a different appreciation coming back here to Florida. I definitely get wintertime while the Texas guys come here. We're always in the wintertime. It's kind of slow in Texas. They just get sandbars. And so there's an influx of Texas shark fishermen here in the Panhandle area going after mako sharks mainly. And I get it now. And I was never like, don't come here. But I was also just like, wow, what's going on? Like, that's a lot of, maybe it's just, nothing's going on or whatever. But now I get it. So all Texas guys, when you come, man, hit us up. Because I want to swap stories with you. Because I want to know some of the stories of the Texas guys. Drop them in the comment section right now. What's some of your, like, just Texas as heck, stories, because I'm sure there's guys out there. I've heard stories of guys like they hook up to a fish, they break off, but they use a float. So they go and they track down the float, re-splice their braid, get the fish in, or they're just like, I know some guys that are kayaking in like huge waves. They get hit so hard they get like backwards surfed all the way 300-400 yards back in, and it's just like I feel like at times in Texas it's just got to be so defeating, and that's almost what this trip felt like. Was just like, man, Texas, you did it. Like, you did it, man. We were set up, looking back on the whole trip, we were set up to be, Cody got us on 2 giant fish, which doesn't happen all the time. And we were set up to be, maybe one of the best Texas trips that we might ever see in our lifetime. Like, us, period, ourselves. And then it goes to where we're, like, sitting here in the office going, we could have done it. What could have happened? But what is a fishing trip, or what is fishing without something like that? The fish stories, the what could have happened, the almost, those are what keep us coming back. And Texas, we're not done with you. We're not done with you. You heard it here first. It's going to take a second. My heart needs to heal. My arms need to heal. My lungs need... maybe I should start doing cardio before I go to Texas. But, yeah. But general synopsis of the trip, it was a good time. Really appreciate Cody. Really appreciate the Texas fishery and what you guys have to put up with there. Because, like I said, the main challenge is just getting baits out. Like, Sharkathon is on one of the most... For some reason, they have this thing patterned where they choose the worst weekend of the year to make Sharkathon, this big tournament. It's $20,000 for the cash prize. $20,000 for a land-based shark fishing. Just think about that for a second. That's Texas as heck too, man. So I get more of the Texas pride. I've known people throughout my life, even not shark fishing, who are from Texas, and it's all the same, like, Texas, man, woo! So even shark fishing wise, even more so, the waves are bigger in Texas. The drops are bigger in Texas. The weights have to be bigger in Texas. So I can understand the things that you guys have adopted there. So it just left us humbled. Appreciation for a completely different fishery, and we got to go somewhere we've never been in the country before to experience something, big time. So we didn't catch any, sharks other than Spencer's fine tooth, a bunch of fine tooths. They all caught a bunch of fine tooths, and then he got that one bonnet head. But we were trying to proper fish, so we could have ran some smaller rods for black tips and stuff like that. But we didn't want to run more rods than we needed to, because we already had 6 big rods out in the rack. If you run more, just something goofy. I would hate for a hook a bull shark. He wraps in the braid. The next reel goes off. It's an actual proper fish, So we stuck to our guns. We had a game plan to come there and break 10 foot in Texas, and we just didn't do it. We fell short, and it happens. This is the reality of traveling. This is the reality of, we do this full time. We fish full time, but sometimes it just doesn't land. So if you find yourself in those trips, just keep going. Just keep going. You lose a big fish, get a new bait out, and do what you can. So, all in all, fantastic trip. We did leave pins. We left pins a day early because there was a storm system we thought was coming. The tides were rising. We didn't want to get stuck out there with no cell phone service. So we came in on a Saturday. We went south of Bob Hall, and that's when we really got to see the Texas fishery. We passed like tons of groups that were just shark fishing, had baits out, running drones out, running jet skis out, running kayaks out and stuff like that. So everybody and their mother, brother, sister were out there. We thought the waves were going to be rough on Saturday, but I really appreciate Cody trying to squeeze us in there. I know he was hurting. Everyone was hurting about those 2 fish. That's something that's gonna I'm gonna see it in my nightmares for a long time. But we're in South of Bob Hall on a really busy day, and you don't see a new video from that just because it was not very productive. There was nothing really positive that came out of that. We ran baits with a jet ski, which was cool. Never seen that before. Ray got on the jet ski. Travis set some baits on the jet ski. Cody set some baits on the jet ski, and then I have this picture of Spencer. I'm gonna put it up on the screen now, because those of you who know Spencer Wonder, he's an elite fisherman all around the world, and I just think it's so funny to see Spencer on a jet ski catching a Mondo ladyfish. Don't get me wrong,
Huge ladyfish.
huge. Absolutely, that was something also mind blowing about Texas. We get ladyfish. Texas gets ladyfish. I'm like, that's not even supposed to be that should be a world record. And then there's just tons of them. So, like I said, eye-opening experience and all good fun. It was so much fun. There's a big camaraderie with our group. We had other camaraderies with other groups. When we went to South Bob Hall, we had 5 or 6 trucks show up. Bunch of guys wanting to, say hey. Guys I talked to on Facebook for years and never got to meet because I've never gone to Texas. So to get to do that, to shake hands and just be in the fishery for a few days, for a weekend, was just something very, very special. And like I said, Texas, we'll be back. We're going to try to redeem ourselves. I don't know if we're ever going to hook 2 big fish like that again. That's something that just But no sweat. We're back home. We're going to bring you guys the regular schedule content. We'll get offshore when we can, and we're going to be doing a lot of shark fishing, and the fall time's coming. So big tigers are to come. But if you guys enjoyed this Texas episode, it was such a blast. We've got some awesome pictures on our social media if you don't know. If you also are new to the channel, just checking out the Texas shark fishing episode. We do a lot of offshore fishing. We do some yellowfin stuff. We do some stuff here in the panhandle, big tigers, big hammers, big duskies, big makos, that kind of stuff. And then we also have apparel. The new sweatshirts just came in. We just sold out of medium, so if you wear size medium in sweatshirt, just wait, because we have performance sweatshirts coming in. But the website's up right here, as you can see. We got hats. We got shirts. We got a bunch of inventory. You can't see it. It's out of frame, but it's stacked right here. So if you guys like the channel, you want to support the channel, you want to support what we do and travel and go get our butt kicked in Texas, go ahead and check out the apparel. Pick some up. Pick some GCN merch up. But I'm going to close this episode up, guys. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I hope you guys got something out of it, because we sure did. So if you did, go ahead and give this video a thumbs up. Drop a comment below. Share with your friends. Go ahead and subscribe. And we'll see you guys in just a couple days.